Welcome to the Rugged Bayou Podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Holman. Today we have on our Local Legend series, owner of Peak Outfitters, Cole Trichell. Welcome to the show, Cole.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cole, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with Peak Outfitters?
Well, I've been guiding since I was 19. I started doing like elk hunts in western Colorado and kind of went and started doing some hunts in eastern Colorado, Nebraska, and then New Zealand and West Texas. And last year was my first season actually outfitting, but I just kind of, it's always been a goal of mine to be an outfitter, and I kind of have like a standard I would like to see in the industry, and I kind of just went for it. I started out there in eastern Colorado and just real small last year. Just did a few antelope hunts and one deer hunt, and then I still guided up in Nebraska for Jordan Budd up there, and then I guide in West Texas at Top of Texas still, and I'm actually just on a break from that. But yeah, I'm kind of a full-time guide and do some welding in the summer. But yeah, that's kind of where I got started.
So where did you get the name Peak Outfitters from?
I was looking at Pikes Peak when I come up with the name. I was just, we live up there close to Pikes Peak, and I'm just thinking of a name, and, it's kind of just looking at Pikes Peak, don't get any prettier than that. And I just kind of went with it. I just thought it was a good short name, and I didn't want to name it after myself or anything, because I'd like to get to the point where I have a few guides working for me, and they don't associate, hunters don't associate your name to being there all the time. Yeah, I mean, just kind of what I went with. It doesn't make much sense because I'm about as far from a peak in eastern Colorado as you can get. So, but hopefully we'll get into some elk properties here in the future.
I was going to say, I thought you named it after that peak that you climbed and to get after those elk, and it was foggy all morning. You couldn't see anything.
That was kind of right there, that time frame where I was thinking about it. And yeah, I was on a peak that morning too. But yeah, I think when it first struck me, I was like looking at Pikes Peak. But then it was like fitting because it was like a week later or something that I was climbing up that peak and I was above the fog. I was just like, yeah, let's go with this. So
it's definitely a good name that you can build your brand around for sure. And I think it would draw people toward, of course, Colorado is the first thing I think of when I think of your outfitting business, but you also are so diverse that you really can offer hunts pretty much anywhere around, or find out a place to hunt and get on animals pretty quick. Anybody that follows your Instagram can tell that you have success, and it's definitely something to look into.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So going into Pikes Peak, and I'm not going to drop any information on where we were, pretty much me and you, the first time that we got to hang out officially was on the pack out. So that was pretty cool. Your dad killed a pretty good mule deer.
You would be better to describe it better, but I was chasing elk with a buddy of mine in the same unit, just kind of, slow morning or whatever. And Dad, that first morning of the hunt, this was day 2, the first morning, he texts me and he says, I think I see a shooter. And I said, how big is he? And he says, I don't know. I think 180. I'm like, well, you think 180? Like, I mean, if it's old enough, shoot it. And he's like, it's got 8 points on one side. I'm like, dude. And he missed it that morning. We went and looked for it for like, what? I don't know if you were there. You weren't there that morning, but we went.
No, I didn't go the first morning.
Yeah, for like 2 hours. And he ended up finding where he hit a tree um, in front of where the deer was standing. Like it was, I don't know, 7 foot up in the air. There's like a bullet mark in the side of the tree. So we felt pretty good that that deer wasn't wounded. And yeah, then the next day, um, I just got a text saying BBD, so I didn't really know what I was pulling up on, and then he texted me while I was on the way and said it was the one from the day before, and I was pretty pumped when I walked up to that thing, like,
Oh yeah, yeah. It happened pretty quick. I spotted the does uh from the side of the mountain, and as soon as he's like, "No, that's my buck," I was like, "I don't even see anything." He had better binos than I had, and as soon as that deer picked his head up, I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "We're going to kill that deer." So we made our way around, and he made a good shot. Luckily, that deer didn't roll down the mountain, and we were able to harvest that in a I would say best case scenario for sure.
oh, on that ridge, yeah. Didn't he
Yeah,
miss it?
I wasn't gonna put that in the podcast, Cole.
Yeah. Air, air,
It's gonna, yeah, it's gonna stay in the podcast now. Maybe he can come on the show and redeem himself. But
yeah,
he
but
did.
he tried to shoot off your shoulder. Wasn't
Yeah,
that
he did.
the problem?
Yeah, he said 1, 2, 3, and then he paused and pulled the trick, and then pulled the trigger. And I'm like, do it again. The deer didn't move, and I'm like, okay, do it again. And when he shot that time, he dropped it in his tracks. I think he shot under it. Being at that angle, it'd be pretty easy to shoot under the deer for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that was 2 times where he was in a bad shooting position in 2 days. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
really
that tripod that he just claimed about, it didn't do it no good either time, did it?
no. I tell him you got to get one that you can shoot sitting, or at least kneeling, a little bit more elevation.
I think the best part about it though is you took a guy hunting that normally never gets to hunt and is not even from this country. You'll have to touch on that part, but just to see his reaction and being able to show somebody new kind of how we do things and the right way and how things go about. I think that was pretty much my favorite part of the hunt. Of course, the kill is always the fun part, right? But to see somebody else get excited over not even being able to see it happen, that was pretty cool to me.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of like because it was the guy I was hunting with, buddy from out of the country. He's met him in college, and he went hunting with us that morning, and then I got the text that Dad had killed that deer. So I was like, "You want to go see a deer?" And he's like, "Yeah." And yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, it'd be like, this is like, I know you don't know anything about this, but this is like an exceptional deer, you know. So that was really cool.
How exactly? And so to go on that, you started guiding at 19, uh, and I know the answer, but how did you get into hunting?
Uh, well, my dad, of course, got me into it. We kind of met because our dads ran together. Like, in we're from the same town or the same area in Louisiana, and then my dad moved us up to Colorado in 2009, and then you kind of stayed in touch with Dad, right?
That's right. Yeah, I pretty much that's our running joke is, uh, that's my friend now, and that's not my dad's friend.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Dad. Yeah, he can be friends with anybody. But anyways, that was really cool to like kind of reconnect like that years later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It kind of spread apart, and then you know to come as close so quickly. And I think it's just our type of personalities, mine, yours, your dad's. It pretty much meshes because we all are passionate about the same things, so it's pretty easy to hang out and hunt together.
for sure, yeah. Yeah, no, it's anyway, the reason I brought that is because like in Louisiana you can hunt at any age as long as you're with a mentor. So um I had grown up like with my BB gun shooting whatever in the yard, squirrel hunting, and then me and my 2 sisters both shot their first deer. We all shot our first deer at 6 years old. So I mean, not a lot of people get to do that. So I just kind of grew up as a redneck, just hunting all the time and homeschooled, so I was able to go whenever. And yeah, I'm lucky to have that for sure. Dad's as avid as you can be about it. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
He's probably one of the most passionate people about hunting that I've met, as far as staying true to who he is, and trying to fight for what's right. Even though he can go overboard sometimes on a few things, but his heart's always in the right place, and you can't fault him for that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's always like, and he talks a big game, like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and but he's always taught me the right way about doing things. Like it's always been the right way, by the law. Like he's really, really passionate and straightforward with it. So no, he's great. But yeah.
So growing up in a little bit in Louisiana and finally moving to Colorado, what would you say your most memorable hunt is?
Got this another day. It's hard to put something on it.
I mean, essentially, and that's what the title of this podcast is. You're guiding people's memories. Anytime that they go out in the woods, either they kill something or they don't. Just being out there, if they're out there for the right reasons, they're making memories, and you're guiding those memories. But what would be your most memorable hunt?
Yeah, honestly, probably my most memorable hunt. Like the first thing that comes, maybe it's just because we're talking about it, but like that first deer I killed at 6 years old, like I can still remember that like it was, yesterday. It was like, you know, just barely legal shooting light, some does come out into the pipeline. Of course, I shoot the littlest deer. It's a button buck. And my uncle goes up, and after we found it and everything, and I remember he got his pocket knife out and cut the hair. He cut the hair around the horn so that you could actually see the little spikes going up. But like to me, that's pretty crazy that I can still remember that, and I was 6 years old. So that's probably my most memorable one. And I mean, I think that's pretty cool since I've been able to hunt all over. So
Oh, for sure. You've seen countless trophies, big and small. Trophies that almost, it's in the eye of the beholder, right? And for you to
right.
keep referring back to that first deer, I mean, that shows you that your heart's in the right place for sure. I can still remember my first deer sitting in a box stand, freezing to death. First doe steps out, nervous, buck fever, whatever you want to call it, right? And shoot it, runs off. Well, being at that age, I think I was 9, 10, maybe. Uh, once I saw it run off, I thought I missed it. Just not having confidence,
Yeah.
But went down there and it was laying right there on the edge of the lane right there, and I don't think you ever forget your first one. There's no way.
No. No. It's not. Yeah. I mean, probably a second to that is I shot like a 80-inch 8-point down there, and I was 8 at that point, and oh, I was fired up. I didn't think deer got that big.
That's a Union Paris Boone and Crockett.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. No, that was a cool one too. But
Yeah, and for people that don't know, in Louisiana, there are some big deer, but 90% of the population don't let anything walk, or at least not twice. They might let it walk the first time, but if it keeps walking out, they're gonna eventually shoot it, which is fine. I mean, that's just the way that people want to hunt, and I'm
yeah,
good with that. You can't count somebody else's time or what they have going on. So I can never say anything bad about somebody harvesting an animal.
no, and especially that was almost 20 years ago. So, um, I mean, it's probably gotten better since then. But as far as letting deer walk, but
It has, yes.
yeah, but yeah. So
So you're guiding out west. What is your favorite animal to chase through those mountains?
mule deer, easy.
You
Definitely
have been
probably doesn't have to be in the mountains either. Just mule deer in general.
from just the past 2 years hearing your dad talk. You've been on some epic mule deer hunts, whether they've been successful or non-successful. That was a massive mule deer that y'all got on last year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like I've still yet to kill a big deer. Like I've killed some good ones. But I guide people all the time, and we're killing pretty good deer. Mule deer in general are just the big ones are getting so hard to come by. Like, it's definitely getting worse. So it's super hard to find a big one. And when you do, it's like so rewarding. So that's kind of why I like
It seems like at least every other week you're on a different giant. So
it. Definitely not that often, but
no, and anybody that knows you knows the hard work, how hard you work to find these animals and get people on these animals, and the time it takes to even get into a position to harvest that animal. It takes so much time and preparation that most people just take it for granted.
yeah. And for people in Louisiana, like, or down south in general, like Colorado has trophy units where it takes a lot of years of applying to get a tag in that specific unit, and the deer hunting's usually better, but like I don't roll that way. Like I don't want to wait 20 years to draw a tag. So we always hunt like low point units, easy to draw. And so that kind of, the big ones are definitely still out there, but it just makes it that much harder. So I don't ever get to hunt like high point units or anything. Just kind of know where you're hunting really, really well. And I mean, it's taken me years to figure out like what you have to look for to actually find a big deer. Like they're not, and you get lucky, but you got to kind of know where to look. It's hard to show up somewhere and find a big one for sure. So yeah, that's why mule deer's like my favorite, because they're so hard to come by, and I talk about it all the time, probably making it worse for myself, but
Yeah, I remember that. Like you said, that morning that we went and harvested that mule deer, we walked out of the my tiny home that I rent when I come up here and visit y'all, and there was one giant one. He's like, "That's the biggest deer probably in the unit right there," and he was just eating on a shrub, and
right there in town.
right there in town. But
Oh yeah.
it's crazy. You'll go from seeing nothing driving through Colorado to every turn will have something on it. It's so crazy how they can just blend in. But I guess it's the terrain, right? I mean, they can get back into some gnarly stuff, and you just got to go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you definitely got to know where to look, especially for a big one. Mule deer are really not that smart, like the young ones at least, and then a deer gets 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and he gets super smart. It's like it's a completely different species. Like, I mean, and you hunt places like where there's never, the deer's never had to worry about a whole lot of hunting pressure or whatever, and they can still be kind of tame, more tame than a whitetail, but just to kill a mule deer is not that difficult, but to kill a big one is really difficult. So that's kind of what fires me up. But
What would you say the hardest big game animal to hunt is out west?
just to get one killed, I'd say probably elk. The hardest probably archery hunt is antelope. I that's super easy, but to just like even rifle, archery, whatever, to just come to Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, whatever, and just kill one is probably elk is probably the hardest because there's a ton of people that do it. But
I can definitely attest to that.
yeah,
You know, we went out there and the timing probably wasn't the best dates, but I think the moon phase had a lot to do with it. Just from, like I said, that was my first elk hunt. I wanted to do it with a bow. If I was going to do it, I was going to do it right from the jump street. I didn't want to just go out and shoot it with a rifle. I want to at least have that experience to say I tried, right?
right,
And the first 4 days, I would say there was some promising, encounters, but nothing I would even call even close to even thinking you're going to draw your bow back until about that fifth, sixth day.
right.
And then they just almost like they populated, and we're seeing 40 over here and 40 over there, and you try to choose on which way to go, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, right? But I got very close to I got close to a 6x6 that was, I didn't spook, but the one that got me was the one I never saw, and he was right behind me. And I'm talking about probably 20 yards maybe. And but he saw me first, and I was not in the right spot or looking even that direction. So that was definitely a bummer. But I didn't. The way I look at it, I didn't put the time in. That would have almost been too easy, right? I mean, I was in my hey dudes, right off, barely, not even 100 yards from the trail, but I didn't deserve to kill that 6x6 or that what I thought was a 5x5. I didn't put the time in. I would have almost felt like I cheated myself. I would have definitely took the horns home, but
Yeah.
to put the time in like that, and people go years and years without even getting that encounter, I'll never forget that right there. To lock eyes with a bull elk in Colorado with my bow, that's something that'll stay with me forever.
Oh yeah. No.
I just hate I can't express it enough to people to get it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, I get it. It's unreal. And I don't know, I've guided so many elk hunts, like archery. I've only killed a couple with my bow. It's kind of a different feeling for me with elk because usually I'm back 40 yards, 30 yards, whatever it is, calling them in, and I get to see it from a different perspective, I guess. And man, some guys like get so fired up. Like I had a guy one time like called in these two bulls. One was the herd bull and one was the satellite bull, and both were 6 points. And the herd bull was hanging back, and the satellite bull come in, and the guy drew his bow back, shot, and I could hear him yelling down the hill. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I didn't even look at my pins. I didn't look through my peep sight. I just drew the bow back and shot. Like it tears people up. Like and I know it's not just that guy. Like it's everybody. Like if you know, sometimes they'll get the best of you for sure.
They can become nightmares.
Right. Yeah. They will be in your nightmares for sure. I'm sure you got to the point where you're hearing bugles and then you're hearing them in your sleep, like phantom bugles.
We experienced that a couple of times that we were like, I don't know if I heard it or not. And we were both like that. We're like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Especially by that fifth, sixth, seventh day when they've been quiet this whole time. We're just like, man, I don't know. I don't even know anymore.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes you're like, was that a bull or was that a hunter?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is I never got too high. I never got too low. I try to always look at the positive and always, if it's going to happen, the good Lord willing, it's going to happen if it's going to happen, right? All we can do is try to prepare ourselves to put ourselves in the best situations.
Right.
And my focus went from, hey, there's a cow and a bull about 65 yards creeping in there. I got within about 60, and then there was an opening. I could see the bigger bull walking through the brush, and he's about to hit that opening. And all I can think about is that's 60 yards. I got a 60-yard pin. I'm ready to shoot.
Yeah.
And when I heard that crunch, to turn around and lock eyes with that bull just turned my world completely upside down. And when he was running through, and so he cut through, and before I could get my bow turned back, he had already ran to those elk, and they all went over the mountainside. But just from going to so much confidence to so much, I wouldn't call it disappointment, because just that experience alone had me on high, right?
Right.
And that was our to finish out our week, to keep me motivated, to push me forward those extra couple of days, which your dad was there every step of the way except for the last day when he got sick. But that pushed me. Yeah, I'm from Louisiana, but I'm going out there by myself, and here's my pins, and here's the area I'm going to be hunting if something happens, So
Yeah.
I'm hunting this last morning for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm sure, I just know him. He had a lot of pressure, like just trying to get you a good experience,
Yeah, I think now, after me and him talking about it, and what my expectations were, we totally exceeded it. I was not. We go out there to kill a bull. That's what the tag's for. But
Right.
that's not necessarily what I went for. I went to go bow hunt in Colorado. Ended up being the last time you're pretty much guaranteed over the counter tag for a non-resident.
Yep.
Which I need to do some research and see how that's going to actually shake out for this upcoming draw season. But just to do that, I mean, you just got to go there. I mean, not just Colorado, just anywhere. If you're thinking about going on a hunt, it's really not that expensive if you plan your trip out and don't wait to the last minute. That's when it's the most expensive. I used that the whole entire summer to get all my gear and stuff like that, so it really wasn't that bad.
Right. Yeah. You just gotta kind of make a plan, and yeah, it does get expensive when you don't plan it out and budget for it and do all that. I mean, you just throw stuff together last minute, but no, it's, if you want to do it, just do it. It's, I guess probably the biggest thing I hear is like how to like apply for tags and yada yada. Well, okay, we'll narrow that down. So where do you want to hunt? What state do you want to hunt? Pick out what state you want to hunt. Do you want to hunt with a rifle? Do you want to hunt with a bow? What do you want to hunt? Like, get all that in your mind right, like, and then just read the regs, figure out when you have to apply by, if you have to apply, whatever it is, just start planning now, because it's hard to put it together last minute. But I think the draw deadline in Colorado last year, it was April 2nd, I want to say.
It was something like that, yeah. I think we had all of March, I think, to do it. It's either all of March or all of April. I can't remember.
You have all of March, so
That's it, yeah.
Definitely to get it done first part of March.
And I'm no affiliation with it, but I use it. Hunt Reminder is a good tool to find out when that draw is. I've had 2 text messages in the last couple of days for Wyoming and Arizona is going on right now on a couple of things. So that's the tool I use. Being out of state in Louisiana, I can't keep up with all these regulations. So that's a good tool to at least get me started in the draw process for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've got to see a lot of states. You've been to multiple states, hunted multiple states, been successful in multiple states. What state do you think has the most epic views?
Epic views. Well, haven't. Like, Colorado's my bread and butter, so like I know Colorado really well. I'd say, I mean, it's just kind of, I find like I can be on the eastern plains and you see a sunset and like a cornfield, and I just think that's gorgeous. But I'm gonna have to go with Colorado, because it's just like so diverse. You have the mountains, you have the plains, river bottoms. Like, it's more that moment. Like, if you're enjoying yourself in that moment, you know, that's going to stick with you a little bit. So that's probably my thing. New Zealand has some insane views, though. I will say that New Zealand is insane. Like, the mountains there are unbelievable. So
Yeah, I would probably have to agree with you on that. I like my South Texas sunsets. You get to see it a little longer. I like the timber sunsets in Louisiana, but there's just something about that sun going over those mountains. There's something about it. It's almost like it turns into a different world almost for a split second.
yeah,
To me, uh, Willie was getting on to me like, "You're not gonna take pictures of this. You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna do that." I'm like, I can't. I said, I take the picture, but it's not even close. The picture
yeah,
I'm taking, I look down, I'm like, no. I said, I'm
yeah,
just gonna live. I'm just gonna live in it, and that's what I
yeah,
did. I took a couple of videos and a couple of pictures, but it's just pictures don't do it for me. It
yeah.
takes a lot to you can't recreate it. You have to be there.
Right. Yeah, and I can't. You know, when I first started guiding or whatever, and go show people from down there or whatever, and you pull your phone out and you're like, look at this. Like, it's almost a letdown because you know that they don't see what you saw. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't hardly ever take any pictures of, you know, views and stuff because you got to be there for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and I'm sure people walk a lot farther and stuff like that. We ended up walking, I think, 41, 42 miles total. Uh, 9 miles was our longest day, but I kept falling back to as we, go over this mountain ridge to the next one, to the next one. I just found myself thinking like, who has all stood where I'm standing right now? What
yeah, yeah,
what tribe or what were the first people, to stand right here that thought that nobody else would stand right here? And I'm
right.
just a guy, small town guy from Louisiana, standing right here. You know what I mean? So I just kept falling back to that on what other memories have been made or what's happened. I mean, those
Yeah.
mountains are unforgiving.
Yeah. How many days did y'all hunt?
They went on to 7, 6 maybe. I had to go
7
back and look.
days. So what does
Yeah,
that average out to? 40 and 7. That's about 5 miles, almost 6 miles a day. So that's a lot. Like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We can't say we didn't try for sure.
Oh,
Now
dude.
some days we didn't walk a lot. Some days we did. It just all depended. Depend on weather and kind of what we're seeing. You got to go after them for sure. If you don't look, I mean, you can't. Sometimes they will walk up into your camp, but
Right. Or cross
more.
the road right in front of you.
They did it on. We were riding side by side back from the evening hunt, and a little 4x4 crossed the road and dipped down into the valley right there. And I'm like, great. I guess I'll try to hunt here tomorrow. that's whenever. That's when your dad was kind of sick that next morning, but he fought it. I could tell a couple of days into it. I'm like, he he's getting worse. And that final day, I'm like, you're not going. You need to stay here. You got to. I said, you
Yeah.
can't breathe. You just need to stop. Just stop. I'll go hunt for a couple of hours. I really just made a pass through. Just I I went about, I don't know, 5 miles, or I'm sorry, 2.5 miles, and came back is what I walked. But I just wish more people got to experience it the right way and went in there with better attitudes, about it.
Oh, yeah. And I just on that back to walking, I hear like a lot of guys like, yeah, we did 120 miles in 6 days or whatever. I'm like, when did you have time to hunt if you're walking that much? Some people just like think that you have to go walk, you know, go in 8 miles to kill one. And it's like, that's so not the case.
If I'm having to walk 8 miles in there just to hunt, you might as well spike camp.
Well, yeah, that's an option for sure. But, like if you're like consistently walking more than 5 miles a day, um, I mean, unless you're like in a lot better shape than I am, then it's hard. It's hard to stay motivated after about day 3 because you're gonna be burnt. out. I know I do. Just elk hunting in general, like it's work, but so you're sleeping on either in your tent or on a cot or whatever, and it gets, it gets you get wore down by the end of that hunt. So I try to stay as close to the truck as possible. I've packed elk out over 5 miles, and there's nothing fun about that. So, but if you have to, you got to. So,
oh yeah, to touch on that, we were sitting, I think where one of your buddies killed an elk, and y'all came in the back way because y'all couldn't get the way that we came in, and just to look from my point of view down the valley to where y'all had to come in at, I was just like, there's no way. And y'all made multiple trips. I'm like, I mean, I guess if you're in that moment and you have help, you kind of get motivated by that. But just that as soon as he said that, I was like, there ain't no way.
that was a deal where we hunted for there was one big push to get to where like we started hunting, and that was about a little over a mile, and then we just started like working around, and I guess about 2.5 miles in, we like heard a bull, and we kind of just dogged that herd all day, and they just kept getting further and further away, and then we ended up killing him probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I don't think we got back to camp until midnight, and we were able to get that whole bull out in one trip. And Dad and my cousin met us halfway when we had gotten back a different way and got on to the flat stuff, and they met us down on the flat stuff. But that first 2.5 miles was insane. Like I was like, this is brutal. But
And it wasn't easy terrain from what I could tell.
No, it's straight downhill. I mean, I'm guessing we each had 150 pounds on our back, so that's stupid. That you shouldn't do that. No one should do that.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, that definitely puts you in harm's way as far as from a health standpoint. If a bunch of guys just from say Texas go up there and try that same tactic, it might not end as well for them for sure.
Yeah, it's you can get yourself into bad spots, but I mean these days I don't do too many backcountry deals. But anyway,
you always got one in there if the right person comes along and talks you into it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I know you bounce around, Nebraska, Wyoming, Colorado. You've been down to Arizona, Texas. Where do you mostly find yourself during hunting season? Is it in Colorado?
Yeah, and moving forward, it'll be mostly Colorado, and then Texas. West Texas is where I guide for mule deer and aoudad down there. Yeah, Colorado, moving forward, I'll be there. Eastern Colorado, I'll be there from August until December. So
awesome. So, you talk about those hard to find monster mule deer. They're getting harder to find. How does the predator population change the way you hunt? I know there's an increase in wolves and as well as bears, mountain lions out west. How has that changed the way you have to hunt?
It hasn't changed anything for me yet. We only have the one pack that got released, and then they recaptured them, and then they added more to them and released them again in a different part of the state. And I don't really hunt around there, so it hasn't affected me yet. But the coyotes and mountain lions, and they just got a lot against them. The biggest problem that the mule deer are facing right now is the CWD. That's bad in Colorado. Where I hunt out east, there's about a 22% prevalence rate. So, 2 out of every 10 deer have CWD, and I don't know exactly what that's doing to them. Like, they're studying it and whatever, but Colorado's tactic to fight that is to try to kill the deer way down. Like, their populations, they think, need to go way down. And I'm not sure that that's the right move, but it's gonna have the wolves and such are gonna have a big impact on it here soon. If people don't know, there was a bill that was gonna pass to stop all mountain lion, bobcat, and lynx hunting in Colorado. You can't even hunt lynx in Colorado as is. And we were lucky to not have that pass, so we can still hunt mountain lions. And then the wolves will. I mean, I don't think I'll ever be able to hunt a wolf in Colorado in my lifetime, but it's gonna be bad. I really do. I think it's gonna be bad. There's a ton of hunters already, and it's just gonna make, especially the elk hunting, way worse, and the moose hunting. The moose are gonna really feel it too. So
Yeah, so just the time that I spent, which was only a week, elk hunting, we saw a couple of bear signs. We actually saw a cinnamon bear, which is correct me if I'm wrong. It's pretty much a black bear that has some pigmentation, right?
yeah, it's
Uh,
just the color of a black bear. Yeah.
um, saw what looked to be where wildlife and fisheries have put up some stuff to try to monitor these either wolves or mountain lions or something. Walked up on a couple of bear beds, and we were like, well, I'm just glad it wasn't in here,
Yeah.
walking through, 10-foot tall grass and then stumble across an opening where a bear's been laid up. That's not a great feeling. So it sounds like with the new regulations for non-resident hunting in Colorado, they kind of substituted that with predators. Is kind of what it kind of sounds like. Instead of giving out all these tags, we'll just give the predators a free range for the whole year instead of just a season.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's insane. It's that's all political crap is what it is. I mean, you ask anybody that hunts in Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, if wolves are a good idea, and it just does not work in the lower 48. There's just the human impact that we have already out here is enough on the animals as is. And then you add them and it's just impossible to manage. So I don't know. We'll see, but I expect it's going to be harder to draw tags in Colorado moving forward, especially on the western part of the state, and there's going to be less elk, so, and less deer and less moose. So that's kind of what we have to look forward to. But
Absolutely.
I mean, it'll be all right for a little while. But it's not like all doom and gloom, but it's not going to be what it was in the 80s and 90s for sure.
Yeah, and me and you talked about this new regulation for non-residents. Me being a non-resident, of course, at first I was like, "Well, this is not fair. I'm just getting into elk hunting." But after being up there, uh, and seeing the actual number of non-resident hunters that go up there, y'all have a huge impact of people coming out of state to hunt these animals. So for resident hunters that just want to, have to work there Monday through Friday and only can hunt on the weekends, it really puts a burden on them as well to try to get meat on the table. Whereas non-residents, they're just going to go back home and either shoot whitetail or whatever the case may be. So I agree with it to lower that down, at least to help out the population for the big game.
Yeah. I don't really know how to feel about, because what we're talking about is they went from over-the-counter archery for non-residents is going to draw only. So you can't hunt over-the-counter at all anymore as a non-resident. So I think what that's going to do is just a little bit more barrier to entry than there was before. It's not going to be an overnight change at all. I mean, there's still going to be a ton of guys hunting, and it's still going to be really hard, but, I don't know. I don't know if it's the right move. I mean, they're changing the whole tag system in 2028 to 50% is going to be how it is with the preference point system, and then 50% is going to be a complete like a random draw. So that's gonna, if you already have a bunch of points, that's gonna make it even harder to draw tags, those higher point tags. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we probably don't want to get into. But
and I'm sure there'll be a YouTube video as we get closer of breaking down those what to do or what to look for as far as everybody goes. That's kind of how your dad helped me a lot. I've asked you questions and I YouTube it. I mean, you can find anything on YouTube if you know how to type it in right, you know?
yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
So getting into a little bit of gear, what are some of your must-haves when you're going out hunting?
So I'm guiding all the time. I do in Texas, we're hunting out of side-by-sides most of the time. Colorado, I'm hunting out of my truck most of the time. Nebraska, same thing, out of the truck most of the time. I don't do many backpack hunts. Must have for a rifle guy, man, I can't see why you wouldn't want to have a bipod on your gun. I like to have one that's always on my gun just because you never know. Like, it's just, it happens fast. So I like to have a bipod on my gun, and I like to have one where you can shoot from like a sitting position, because those ones that are 6 inches off the ground don't do you much good, unless you're just perfect shooting across a canyon or whatever. That's a big one. A frame pack, that's a big one too. Doesn't really, I mean, I'm not a huge gear guy, but just to have a frame pack, it's really handy for packing out meat. And then boots. I mean, you gotta, if I was to spend some money on something, it would be, at least me, I spend my most money on boots, pack, optics is probably my top 3. If you're going on a hunt where you think you're in glass a lot, having your binos on a tripod with a good head is like critical. I use a window mount for my truck all the time. I'd wait, like if you're first time out west hunting, you don't need a spotting scope. I mean, you're going to be able to tell if something's, the only time I ever pull my spotting scope out is to figure out exactly how big something is. And then just to have your binos on a tripod is like the biggest game changer that you can do to actually find stuff glassing. So that's kind of my top 3. Boots, pack, glass.
I definitely agree with the tripod with the binos, because being out there, trying to look across canyons and stuff like that, if you're bumping, just say a half an inch or a centimeter there, you're moving probably 100 yards at half a mile. You know what I mean? So if you're constantly can't keep still, I use my bow a lot just to put it down and use my cams. But that was definitely one thing that I was like, yeah, I definitely got to buy some of those for sure.
Yeah.
Because you could spot things easier because you're not shaking as much.
Right.
If you're looking across the canyon and you don't have those that tripod, you're really only looking for movement. If that animal's not moving, you're almost not going to find him.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not talking about having high-end glass. Like, you can, that helps for sure. But like, whatever binos you have, if you can get a stud mount on the end of them, post that goes from your stud mount to your head, your tripod head, that's what I'm talking about. Not, you don't need to go buy Swarovski binos if you're going to hunt out west one time a year. I'm talking, go buy you a $150 tripod, $200 tripod. It makes it's like a Chinese brand. They make a good head, like a fluid head. I think it's like a VA5 or something. And then you just got to find a stud that fits your specific binos, and then the post that goes from the head to your binos. That's what I'm talking about. Not going and buying the highest end glass you can afford. You're going to find way more animals on a tripod with a pair of Vortex than a guy is just hand holding the best Swarovski binos you can buy. So
100%. I rock the Vortex Diamondbacks. Once I figured out how to stabilize myself, it was a game changer. I went from, we spotted elk and some forest, and he kind of came into an opening, and I could see him, kinda, and then I just saw a white, tan blob out there, and then your dad was the one who was actually like, "Hey, use your bow." I was like, "Oh yeah, I see every horn right there." Just
yeah,
to being stable.
right.
Didn't know if it was a bull or a cow that far off, but just your natural moving around. When you swinging, like I said, 100 yards each way with just a bump. That's not good.
No, it's impossible.
Do you have any changes that you're going to make to your setup in 25?
I was too cheap to buy another head this year for my window mount. So I was going back and forth I would unscrew my head from my tripod and then screw it onto my window mount. And it's just like a little bit of a burden, but no, I'm pretty dialed, to be honest with you. Like, um if anything, I might upgrade binos because I've had mine for 6 years now, so might go to those EL range or the NL Pures. I'm not sure, but nothing too crazy. My biggest thing is I'm actually going to shoot my bow this year. I'm going to try to kill a deer next year with my bow. So
You're shooting the best brand out there, in my opinion. So that helps.
yeah, yeah.
I think we're actually shooting the same bow, Matthews VXR, correct?
I'm shooting the V3X.
That's right. You got the
Yep.
V3X.
Yep.
Great bows. I love mine. I have the 28-inch. It definitely worked for me being out in the back country, and just that little bit of lighter weight than a 31 or 33. That works for me, right? So I'm not as tall as you, and I ain't got as long a legs, so I need something short with me.
Yeah, and shooting out of a tree stand and stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I saddle hunt all the time, which I think I saw a couple of areas up there that I think I'm gonna bring my saddle set up next time, just 'cause. I mean, there was a lot of sign on top of those ridges, and you
Oh,
never know what can cross up there, right?
or if you find a wallow, like you're burnt out and you find a wallow, you mark it and you know, okay, well the wind would be right for this would be the right wind to hunt this place. So you keep that in your mind and then you say, dude, I'm burnt out today. I'm just gonna go sit that wallow. Like that's a super good option to have. I should probably do that if I ever go elk hunting again. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love my saddle. I saddle hunt on my private property. I just have a whole bunch of climbing sticks, and I just take my platform from tree to tree. You keep your tree in between where you think the deer's gonna come out at.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but so what kind of hunts do you have personally? I know you got a bunch of, everybody's gonna be calling you and setting up their 25 hunts. What personal hunt do you have set up for 2025 season?
I'll draw a deer tag, archery deer tag. We'll try to draw elk tag. I doubt I'll get it. And then that's probably gonna be it for me. We'll see how antelope is. I might get an antelope tag, and if we have a day in between where there's nobody, I'll try to go kill one with a rifle. I actually need to shoot my bow. This year I drew Arizona deer tag, Idaho deer tag, Colorado elk and deer, and I didn't hunt any of them. So that
It's
was
it,
that was
it's
my
a
year.
it's a little easier when you pay your prices instead of coming out of state like I would and not get one, right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a hefty price, but it's like I said, you're paying for the experience is how I look at it, and I too look to draw elk tag. I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I want to try to go back bow or gun. Your dad said he's good with either one, but I have the gun set up now for for the backcountry with that 7 PRC. So, and my silencer just got approved today, so I plan on shooting that a lot, getting it dialed. We have a range out here up to 500, so that'll get me pretty close as far as
That's a
my
lot, yeah.
MOA and stuff like that. So
that's all you need for sure. No, you're talking about prices on tags, and this is just because I'm too dumb to actually go in and do it, but because you can turn those tags back, I think, in both those states I drew, and I just said, screw it, like that money will hopefully go to conservation. So, and
yeah,
nobody, that's hope. In theory, it'll save a deer's life. So
that is true, because I mean, anybody that follows your page, and I'll leave a link in the description, but you definitely either gonna get somebody on something, or you're gonna do it yourself. You're definitely a killer. But I drew that elk tag last year, and I gave it back just so I could go bow hunting. I drew that third season rifle.
yeah,
And ironically, that was the season that your dad killed the mule deer, but ran into that herd of elk. He could have shot one with a rifle.
you said you did or didn't give that?
I did. I turned it back in. I saw it on the secondary list.
Good. No, that's all right. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be a good year. I've got try to do handful of archery, antelope, muzzleloader. I'm full for antelope. And then just a couple, maybe 3 rifle antelope, and then we'll do probably about 5 or 6 deer hunts. So that'll keep me pretty busy out there out east, and hopefully be real conservative on how many deer and stuff we're killing. So that's kind of my guiding fall. So yeah.
Do you have any plan for turkey season coming up?
Yeah, kind of. Not anything ironed out, but I got to go guide a few hunts in Nebraska for at running water hunting, and then I will probably try to kill a bird in Colorado and maybe Wyoming. So that's kind of what I got going. If you can slip away, come on.
I know our turnarounds and the plant shutdowns, they line up perfectly with turkey season. It's all April, so it's always perfectly wrong. So it is what it is. I don't say I'd rather give up turkey season because I love chasing turkeys, but I always get to slip away maybe a weekend. So we'll try to see if we can make it happen. If not, I'll come September, October, November, somewhere time frame. We plan on coming up there 2 or 3 times this year. So, but man, Cole, I appreciate you coming on the show. Where can people follow you at?
You can find I think my website is Peak Outfitters LLC.com. And then my Instagram is whole.Trichell. So,
and I'll leave a link to all your social media platforms in the description. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and stay rugged.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you having me. I was excited to do it.